Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to a meeting of the Stamford Selectboard. If you have a matter to discuss that is not included on the agenda, you may do so by addressing the chairperson and stating your name and address. You'll notice that all our meetings are recorded, and this is to aid with the summarization of the minutes. Visitors are welcome, and we allow 5 minutes of comments per visitor and 15 minutes per topic. Discussions will be held in a calm and civilized manner and respectful of others. Select board members present are
Mike Denal.
Nancy Vitica.
John Dunn. Kurt Clark.
Will there be any adding of items that can't wait until next meeting or removing items from tonight's agenda?
Yeah, I came from the media to ask a question to the select board, and I was told this is the appropriate time to address you guys. Is that true?
Yes, but I'll do it under hearing of visitors.
Oh, sure, sounds good.
Will there be any adjustments to the agenda, such as changing the order of items?
No, I just have some additional correspondence.
Okay, and just to remind everyone that Jeb is recording the meeting and it'll be on his YouTube site. Yeah, YouTube site, all right. Oh, okay. Hearing of visitors. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm a visitor. My name is Josh Landes. I'm from WAMC News.
Josh,
Landes, L-E-N-D-E-S. Here's a card for you. I'm making a recording as well, just so that you guys know. I'm here because
I'm sorry, WAMC News where?
I'm based out of Pittsfield, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was trying to contact members of the select board to ask about the resignation of your school principal. He sent out a message to the community that was very explicit about his experience in Stamford, and I was interested to hear if the select board has a response to that.
This is not anything to do with select board. The school and the select board town are separate, so you would have to ask the select board.
Or school board.
Yes, school board. You
Okay,
would
so
have to-
let me ask you just in the capacity of, like, you know, you guys are leaders in your community and representative to some degree of Stamford. In this message, Randy, I can't remember his last name, an F, I believe, but he talked about a feeling of being experiencing prejudice or homophobia in Stamford, and I was interested in your thoughts on that as people who represent the community.
Not as far as I know.
Okay. So to direct a question to Mr. Denal, I was going through your social media today, and your attitudes about homosexuality in the schools are well expressed in that format. I was interested with that in mind, given that you seem to be comfortable talking about that publicly in your personal life. I was interested in your role capacity as a Stamford leader. Does that represent the community's feelings about that community?
I follow the state laws and the Constitution of the United States as a select board member.
Okay, well, I was interested because you posted about your concerns about the gay agenda in schools on Facebook.
And that's my personal life.
Well, that's true, but you're an elected official, which comes with its own capacity. So, given that the school's principal left the community citing that concern, and that's something you've put your name to in public, I'm interested if you can speak to that.
No, I have no comment about that at all. I've met with the principal many times, been at meetings many times, and I've not seen any problems at all with myself or him.
Okay.
We've actually interacted very well.
Gotcha. Like, I just broadly, like, it's a large statement to make about a community. I just wanted to give the opportunity to the leaders of the community to respond to that. Are you saying essentially you don't have much of a comment on that accusation, or?
No, because this doesn't involve the town and what we're here for. We're here for the town as select board members.
Right, and I guess I'm arguing as someone who covers dozens and dozens of communities, you guys are the leaders of the town, so I suppose, yes, bureaucratically there's a distinction, but, you know, as its representative, you know, you feel like it's a school department issue?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And, yeah, okay.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you guys very much, I really appreciate it.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you. Any other visitors, comments? Okay. Reading and approval of
No.
Oh.
I know I'm late.
I'm looking over there.
I wanted to add financing of the new fire engine to the agenda.
Yes, Lori gave you the bills.
Okay.
Okay, reading and approval of records and orders from last meeting. Can I have a
20.
motion to accept the minutes as approved? Can, I need a,
I make a motion that we approve the meeting
thank
minutes
you, Lisa.
from June 20th.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Road conditions, where would you like to start, Dave? You want to go with the FEMA, the class 2, or?
Yeah, how about we start with what's on the agenda and go from there?
Okay. FEMA subgrant agreement for Klondike Road damages.
So that, I just wanted to let you know, has made it through every FEMA hurdle that they could throw at us, and it was time to actually sign the grant agreement. This is only for the Klondike culvert mitigation piece, which is only one road out of all the ones that were damaged. The total loss for this one road was $11,602. So, because we don't have our hazard mitigation plan finalized, they're only gonna pay 75% of that, which is $8701, and our portion would be $2,900 and some change. The other two projects, Charles called me again today. I came in and had to call him back. They want more GPS coordinates. We gave them just one coordinate, here's the damage. But the way he worked out the math of the dimensions, it's long enough that now he wants a beginning coordinate and an end coordinate. And I don't know, when you look at Google Maps, if I can get that specific when you're looking at like 300 feet.
Can't just go by the length.
Where is Charles anyway?
He's from down south, but they fly him up to work on FEMA projects in Vermont. So they're putting him up in a hotel, and he's got.
You should stop here and look and go around, and that would be a whole lot
They did it
easier.
themselves. They already did all this
I
work
know.
themselves when
Yeah.
they're here, but.
GPS coordinates are gonna be more accurate than a tape measure?
Well, that's the hard part, and you know, he estimated a certain width and length and depth, so, you know, all we can do is now try and accommodate the numbers. And I don't
Go
know.
with his
Or he
numbers.
wants to hire like an engineer and,
Oh, Lord.
you know,
Can you just stand there with your phone and
for a
just
small
tell
town.
you?
Right, hire an engineer for 20,000.
Yeah, were they crazy? Like just,
They have informally asked for the information, and if we can get it to them in the next couple of days and it works, they'll be good. If not, it becomes a formal request, and it may involve another site visit team and an inspection team to determine all of this, and I'd rather not go through all that.
Do the best you can with them and send it, and
Does anybody have a handheld GPS? Or off of their phone?
Just
They must be
Yeah,
I
mad.
don't have the,
we
I
know,
don't
I'm
have
sure
that
you can
kind
use your
of.
phone to
download, you can download.
Think the number double it, like them arguing.
Cal
Just
Topo.
come
Yeah,
in
look at
and
it,
like
yeah.
do a quick,
Cal Topo.
because he does.
Guaranteed if it's too much, they'll come back.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Right.
We're just
So
gonna-
that's what I'm worried about, is if it doesn't
yeah.
make the right yardage, we're gonna be in
Well,
trouble.
we know how much yardage when they.
Well, that's our
Go
number.
backwards?
We
That's
already
right.
had this.
That's what we read. I got guys that can't read a tape measure, so I mean, that's just the way it is.
Have they sent you a number have they sent you a parameter that they're like, we think it's this, but do you think it's something different? Because otherwise just go with theirs and
Yeah,
get.
they're really just trying to set us up to
For
fail.
failure.
Their whole,
Oh,
they're
wow.
trying to get out of paying. From what I can tell, they've come at us, I don't know how many times with the same questions, and then they want us to measure holes that don't exist anymore. And they weren't even, you know, we're talking about where the water went down the road and zigzagged and was deeper in one spot. And they wanted to come up with a volume for a hole that doesn't exist. I can't go measure it anymore, which we've argued, and they seem to agree. Because what they wanted to do was audit us on our information.
It's
And
classic
I
insurance.
can't give them an accurate
Every
number
year.
at this point.
Yeah.
So he created his own numbers of, well, it took, you know, 4 loads of gravel and this and that, so that must fill a hole this long by this wide and this deep, and then anything over 200 feet long, you can't just give one GPS coordinate for the center, now you've gotta actually give the beginning and the end, which,
How did you know?
I can tell
It's
them,
just-
whatever we bought for gravel is what went in the hole, there's your number.
That's right.
Right, right.
And work it
That's
You
backwards.
can't get more accurate than that, it's a trust issue, I guess.
Work it back.
yeah, so,
Right.
Do the best you can, Lori and Dave, and
decide what continues.
Our plan, didn't we finalize that hazardous mitigation?
no,
I thought we did.
she's coming, next
I got it here.
select board meeting to go over the plan and,
We've done our part.
yes.
Yeah.
And it's been approved by the state, so we have to adopt it. Is that the step, Lori? That's what.
So that's it for the FEMA, we'll submit as much as we can. The other one, we were approved for the class 2 structures and roadway grant that Dave and I submitted last, maybe fall. A $200,000 project, so they will pay $160,000. We'll have to pay the other like 40-ish. This agreement, this grant agreement will have to be signed by.
And where is
Yeah,
that?
we have one of these things.
Okay.
It's for a shim and chip seal for East Road.
East Road. It's the class 2, so it's right next to
Oh, yes.
Are these matches, can we use, labor hours also?
We could, but in this particular project, we're really not gonna have anything around.
Can I make a motion to accept it?
A second.
All in favor?
We'll have to budget for it for next year.
200,000. Okay. Chip seal. Okay. Dave, this is kind of, this is old, this is from last meeting. We talked about the trees at the top of the lane in East Road. They did not get blown down in this storm, unfortunately.
I was gonna say, help with the chainsaw maybe, you know?
But, I guess I was a little confused on the letter of what we were writing to people, so I just wanted to see what the board, what we decided. I thought the board was gonna send a letter to the owners saying it's a liability for these trees, you should have them removed. Is that?
So we didn't sign the letter yet?
No, because Dave had another impression that, and I thought, oh,
Well,
I don't think so.
When we're improving it, they're not dead trees, right? They are the landowner's property, but they're not dead. And we're really trying to improve the road. When I go out to improve a road and try to widen the section of road, we cut the trees. We don't ask them to cut the trees. I think in this case, they're healthy, old maple trees. We want to cut them down to improve the road for safety reasons.
Oh, is that the dead one that's on top of the lane there on the
The
right?
stump.
Well, there's a
Stump?
stump, but we didn't add that. That's going anyway.
Okay.
Oh, okay,
These are the other two on.
Heading north.
On the left.
okay.
Right. So, I think if we ask somebody else to pay to take down the trees that are perfectly fine, we're probably not gonna wanna do it. We may get some resistance on us even doing it after. I mean, they may have some bite in it. I mean, they're public shade trees in a way. I mean, they're old, they're landmarks, I would say, almost.
I've seen the trees, they're not gonna be like anything that's gonna be cheap to
No,
take down.
no, so.
With a mirror in place on, in a certain area coming up on, from the lane, would that help?
Yeah, because that'll be a lot cheaper on your.
A mirror, you know, some places when there's a blind spot, they put a mirror in place, so that might be a cheaper alternative than removing those big maple trees. With permission of whoever owns the tree to put the mirror on.
So how do you want to proceed then?
Well, I'm
I
glad
was
that the
thinking
stump,
one
the
way.
stump is, I
I would
think,
say
the
the
bigger
stump,
problem.
the stump can go at some
Yeah.
point.
It's a tricky spot to begin with, because you're coming out of the hole, you're in the lane, coming up out of the hole, and you gotta get way up on top to see.
The stump is the biggest problem. When I went up there,
Yeah.
you gotta get by the stump.
Left is.
Left isn't as bad.
I would say once the stump's gone, you're gonna try to look left and go, I can't see. I mean, I think it's just, a lot of times when you're pulling out of there, I've had it with my plow truck especially, I mean, I'm already in the intersection.
Yeah, the plows stick out way farther than
So,
the kid.
I'd really like to see him go. I'd like to just see, write a letter and say we're taking him down, pay to have him taken down. I think.
So don't ask us to say, we will be doing this, see if there's any resistance and then.
I would say we're gonna be taking these trees down and,
It's within our right. of way.
yeah, it's within the right of way, we wanted you to be aware of it in case you have any objection to it.
Mm-hmm.
Or you want the wood or something along those lines. I mean, we're perfectly legal to do it, but we could end up in a fight over it.
To be honest with you, if the town came and asked me if I wanted to cut them down and pay for it, I'd say no.
Right.
We
Well,
don't
you
have
see
costs.
storm,
Yeah, you want them cut.
you might not get as
Right.
much resistance as you think.
I just feel like it's gonna be a back and forth thing. If we ask this person to pay, I mean, I don't speak for her, but I'm guessing
Right.
she's gonna tell us no. Why would they?
Right.
They're not dead, I don't see how they're a liability to her really, I mean.
No,
I was just treating it like, I assumed it was like the chicken incident, you know, the chickens are gonna cause an accident and, this would,
Sure.
they would come back to you,
That
but-
didn't go well either.
Well-
We were song and dance.
The trees have been there probably longer than any of us have been around.
Yeah.
Those are some of the oldest trees along the roadway, probably.
Yeah.
For sure.
There's a lot, I mean, we really need a good tree policy, I know I said it last meeting, but we're, you know, especially in situations we're in now.
There was no old ordinance buried deep in the archive somewhere.
What if you
Lori's,
just remove some of the underbrush that.
Lori did,
underbrush?
reach out to other towns and one, I guess you got one back and it's like the trees in the park and it was
Yeah.
nothing to do with us, it's kind of more like a big city, yeah. So, I guess if you can revise the letter,
I can.
well, maybe, it's yeah. To say we will take it down when we can. What else, Dave?
So, I think everybody's aware of the storm we had and, some of the damage that we suffered as far as trees. There's a lot of debris, there's a lot of trees that are hung up. We're gonna require more equipment than what I have. I would say a bucket truck. Last summer, 8 weeks we spent repairing flood work. I mean, I don't know how much this summer I gotta get caught up on. I've got culverts and ditching and to stop and try to clean up all this mess at this point. It's just, we're gonna end up spending money repairing roads because I didn't get to the road work I needed to do. So I'm suggesting that we hire somebody to clean some of this stuff up.
How far off the road do you have to clear this debris? I mean, you don't have to, if this,
Well, I
If
mean,
the-
some of the brush, I mean, you could leave it, if you guys wanna leave it, it's out of the traveled part of the road, I mean, it's in the
but
right
it's,
of way.
you're gonna hit it with a plow, some of
There's
them.
some of it is hanging up and it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Right.
Some is,
What if people come and start cutting it to make it hurt? How we cover on
well,
that?
I would say if it's a company,
I mean, just random people, if we got a bunch of wood on the side of the road, are gonna eventually come out and cut it for firewood.
I mean, technically, it's the landowner's.
Right, and there are people already doing that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So, you know, if somebody just starts going cutting wood on the side of the road, they're kind of stealing in a way, they're not really allowed to do that. I mean, if I'm gonna take the wood, I'm supposed to ask the property.
But Dave, what I wonder, now say the stump is 30 feet off the road, you wouldn't go all the way back there, you would just cut, That's
I
for
wanna
our
clear
safe
it back to
passage.
where we're mowing more or less,
yeah,
you know, so we can continue mowing and pushing snow and,
right.
you know, it's probably not gonna be cleared all the way, you know, to the full extent of the right of way, but the usable part of the right of way anyway. But what I'm concerned about is there's a lot of these trees that are very hazardous trees that we don't have the equipment, we don't have a bucket truck. I mean, I have to try to hook to some of these and pull them down and, you know, it's just, some of them are broke, I mean, they're broke off and bent over at 20 feet. I mean, there's no, you know, it's not just trees and,
Do you, have you got any estimates and how many trees and,
No, I mean, I wanted to get your thoughts and get some direction for you before I wasted my time. Because if you feel, because I can tell you right now that between mud season and a little bit of gravel we put down, I have no money left for summer maintenance. So,
A lot of trees.
it's a lot, it's a big mess, it's gonna take,
It's a mess.
I mean, for Michael and I to have to take it on, it's gonna take us a while.
Yeah.
We don't have any kind of chipper that's, you know, I mean, we've got a small one that's on the back of the Kubota that really doesn't hardly work. We
Would,
would take me the rest of the summer with that.
I know Dave said he doesn't have money, we don't have a lot in our budget, but would it be worth using some of the ARPA money for it?
How much ARPA money do we have left? I mean, it seems like I hear that a lot. so-
113.
But didn't
Would it
we
be overly optimistic to
mention
expect some
using
kind of money
something
from
else?
this storm?
Well,
Several something else.
We
So
have,
we did
right.
reach out to Patrick Wilson from AOT. Don't quote me on this, but it's usually, I think you have to go over 20% of what we consider our summer budget. And it used to be a 60-40 split, 60 summer, or 60 winter, 40 summer, so it makes us easier to qualify for it. But I don't know if Lori's heard back from him, and I don't know if it will exceed that threshold.
He did write us back and say, this seems to be an isolated incident. Most of Bennington County was not hit hard for the values to reach probably what it needs to for Bennington County. We could get in touch with FEMA and see if we qualify through FEMA. But he did say keep track of everything and that he would forward numbers to the Vermont Emergency Management girl, and if other people are sending in numbers, that it could potentially grow and.
From what I remember, the point of the Vermont emergency aid is for isolated incidences, because that's, when it's not, that's when you go to FEMA.
So,
Because we've used it before. I've
Can-
used it since I was
can we
here.
take a lot of pictures, and I think we can't wait for them.
Yeah, no, we have to do it regardless.
Yeah. Take a lot of pictures, keep track of your time, equipment, like we do when we have to submit to FEMA, and,
Do you have companies in mind that you would call?
I don't know.
With that equipment? There's a lot of guys that.
I've seen one company in town, I had never dealt with them, was that Alpha Arbor guy across from Nancy.
Oh.
Black Diamond was here.
Yeah, I saw them, they're out of Wilmington. There's,
Rain
I've
Gulls or
used Greater
something like
Heights
that?
before.
Greater Heights came
No.
down.
I've used
Yep.
Greater Heights before, they were pretty
I've seen
reasonable, I
them.
think they're the ones that took down the ones in the school here. They were pretty reasonable.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm stretched kind of thin.
We'll be meeting in
This
2
is
weeks. I don't,
one storm, and we have another couple months of
Yeah.
summer,
Yep.
and then you got plowing.
Right, that's why I really feel the need to get on some of my normal, you know, ditching and culverts. I mean, if you go up Risk Ranch, I've had the culverts for 5 years, and I haven't had a chance to get there yet. And you can drive up there, you're driving over the culvert, they're out of the
Oh, I
right.
know.
Well, when
So-
when you're running like the bare minimum, you can't have anything go wrong. From a
Dave,
scheduling standpoint, budget
And that's
standpoint,
what we've
it
been
all
doing
just
for
needs
10
to
years.
fall in order.
Dave, so you would go around with whatever company you call, mark the trees, because we don't want them taking,
Yeah,
Yeah, but, yeah.
yeah, I mean,
No, I understand.
I would say
Sure,
have
you're-
them chip the brush and the stuff that's in the right of way. I mean, we're not going on people's yards.
Right.
Right.
But the stuff that's in the right of way, I mean, it's pretty obvious, you go up the lane, I mean, both sides are,
yes, it's
you know,
not
there's,
good.
I've just pushed to make it convenient to be able to get the road open, so.
Yeah, if this company that you do hire, one of the homeowners says, hey, you know, can you do mine, get ours done first, and then they can go back.
Yeah.
Don't be,
That stuff happens when we're paving too, you know,
Yeah,
people want their driveway
Sure.
paved and they, typically, the companies won't even entertain it, because they don't wanna have that problem.
well, I don't know how the board feels, but I'd say, let's use the ARPA money, take that, and in the meantime, see if we qualify for this state emergency aid, keep working on that, and then we can replace the money. Because I don't know where it's gonna come from if we don't.
So do you, I mean, it's gonna delay it some, but do you want me to get different prices from different, or do you guys wanna pick somebody that, I mean, when we did the trees in the parking lot, we just called.
I'd rather give you the permission to go, if you wanna get 3 quotes, I don't think we need to have them come back. Your common sense says you're gonna get the right guy. We gotta put a little, a little faith in our workers.
Right, 2 weeks, we can't wait.
So I would say, if you might not even get anybody, Dave.
Right, well, that's the
Other people.
The other issue is that I'm sure that anybody that's gonna be tied up.
Right, so I'm just saying, if you know a couple people, could give them a call, if the guy says, yeah, I'll do it. I think we need to.
I was thinking the Greater Heights people we've used before, and this Alpharber guys that lives in town, so.
Yeah, I don't mind the guy living in the town.
So I think get a price for maybe both of them and. So.
Sure.
Yep, if you get and I think, let Dave decide who he wants to work with and when they can come and work with your schedule and.
If for some reason it seems like this ridiculous number, I'm gonna hold off and talk to you about it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, if it's 10 grand, then like, I don't know,
I was gonna say.
I mean,
Well,
it's usually 500 a tree, I think, normally around
Let's see.
$500 a tree. A lot of these are,
use your common sense and.
I'd be interested in taking a ride around with you and
yeah.
giving you an idea of what it might cost.
Okay. Do we wanna make a motion to do that? And
Motion.
Go with it.
I'll make it.
Second.
When are you available, John?
All in favor?
I'll give you my
Aye.
number, it works out
Okay.
now. I'm usually pretty close, I'm not too far.
And if you can keep in touch with what's his name? Wilson? Who's the fellow that you talked to?
Patrick Wilson.
Patrick Wilson. What else, Dave?
That's pretty much it. We're gonna start switching over to ditching and doing culverts. The mowing was done, we went around and, did a bunch of regrading in some of the spots that had the wheel sags that the water was getting in, and some washboards, and did some bunch of chloriding.
Yeah, so I was on the Sure Road. The Sure Road looked really nice. I think you might have just chlorided it maybe within the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, the other day I graded.
Yeah, it looked nice.
On roads, we got an email from Wade Resort from the LCT. He wants to know how we're proceeding with the suggestions he gave us. There's a couple of them that are low priority, medium priority. If we could start picking away, if you could start picking away, I keep saying we, but and at least show them that we have good faith and really try to do this.
So the email sounded like he came back, but then he said, if you already did some of this, let me know.
Yeah.
I was kind of confused in that, where you're saying, well, here's my suggestions. You didn't do any suggestions, but if you did do suggestions, let me know. Did he even come back and?
He doesn't even know we didn't do it.
Right, okay, that's what I was like.
The thing is.
It didn't sound right, yeah.
He did some suggestions that he had the last time, some of them were repeats. But the things that don't take any time, pretty much like ordering an eye wash on.
Right.
Like, Laura and I looked at them today.
Yeah.
But I wanna make sure it's acceptable for him, before we order.
Right.
But and maybe we can put in for a passive grant. But all this stuff takes time.
Sure.
Yep.
Well, that's what I was gonna bring it up is, here we were just talking about not enough time, and now we gotta do this.
Yeah, it's like the railing, okay, what am I gonna do with the railing? What's gonna make him happy? I can do it, that's not what I do.
Right.
So I've already done it before, and he was good with it, and then now he's not good.
I'd say
Sometimes I feel like it's a waste of time. These are suggestions. There's nothing that's like just flat out dangerous.
Well, that's the feeling I got from the email was, he's saying the word suggestion, but then he's saying, you didn't do it, and it sounds to me like it's not a suggestion.
Right.
It's a command, you know? I want you to get this done, I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense.
The insurance company wants no risk. And I'm not saying they're not good suggestions, but do I go out and dig the ditch so we don't lose the road and somebody crashes their car? Or do I, fix the handrail again that may or may not?
I think we just have to show them that we're working on the list.
I mean, some of the things like ordering an eyewash fountain, and I can just put 2 screws and put on the wall, is not a big deal.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, what was the deal with the wood stove? It was like a medium risk, so that would probably be something we should probably look at more.
That's been a area that he doesn't like. For
Not because of the type of stove, it's just because you're burning wood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're still building
Yeah.
The
the,
wood stove we have now is actually, a EPA, it's got actual numbers and everything on it. The old one was just a homemade,
right.
Right.
they really didn't like that.
What was the other one, Nancy, that was a medium risk?
The
There was a
wood
couple of
stove,
them.
the lockout, tag out for anybody working there.
Get a lock right
PPEs.
now.
Yeah, well, he suggested making something that goes on the wall that we, you take the keys out of it and you hang the keys on the wall or
Yeah.
something. It's Mike and me working.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah, that's the world
Some
we
of
live in
these
today.
things are just,
And every other contractor has their own lock.
You're supposed to each have your own lock and your own key and.
I mean, it's just,
It's like the GFCI outlets,
I mean,
change one but you
you have
can't.
to change them.
Yeah, you can't do it.
It's not that I can't do it, it's just, it's like a take your pick thing, there's no sitting around, I mean, there's 2 people and I'm not complaining about it, some of this stuff is just, there's always all these other extra things, like the other day with these storms, every time it rains hard, I gotta go, check stuff to make sure there isn't issues for the next time, because when it rains as hard as it's been, it takes all of the debris and plugs stuff up, whether it be a ditch or a culvert, so that's a whole lost day every time it rains hard. You get 2 days in a row, you gotta go right back around.
What does he want with heat smoke detectors? Do you have any up there?
No.
Maybe grab one somewhere and
Again, that's a simple
don't open
fix.
the wood
Where do you
stove.
put it?
Don't open the wood
Where do
stove.
you put the smoke detector? I've got ceilings that are,
I know.
how do you get it up there?
Yeah.
I can't do that.
It's too,
Sit
if
on
you
the
clutter,
wall.
if you clutter your mind up
Sit
too
on the
much,
wall.
if you're,
By the eyewash.
when you're as busy as someone like David and you clutter your mind up too much with little frivolous stuff like this.
I know.
The burnout rate is way higher.
Yeah.
You just fry
You're
your
like
head.
a punchless guy.
Yes,
Thank you.
Yeah.
third guy.
You'll fry your mind,
Yeah.
you'll burn out.
Yep.
It's beyond that, because like the third guy's gonna be running right with Mike and I. It's not, these things here, if I just stopped and did all these other things, what really mattered would never get done.
Well, I hear, this is what bothers me, is we have an insurance company coming in and saying you have to, these suggestions we have to get done. But then when you go and you hire someone, they gotta have a liability and they have to have licenses and, so now that costs big bucks. If you had a handyman that was running around and said, now, if he works for the town, he doesn't necessarily have to have a license to put a rail up. But if you hire someone, you gotta have a contractor with a license.
Right.
I know guys that'll put that railing up and they'll be happy to do it for $20 an hour because they're looking for work, but they don't have a license. And you can't hire those guys, just like we were talking about with the lawn mowing. You gotta have a guy with liability insurance and all that. You can't hire a guy in town that will be happy to mow it for less money. And it's getting to the point where our hands are kinda, every single thing we move, John just said it, it's the world we live in.
Who's
It's the insurance companies and the lawyers are killing us.
The school use when they need to have like smoke alarms and stuff like that put in.
Is it still Pierce? No, McLean?
I don't know.
It was McLean.
Maybe it'd be worth having them put in a bid for it and just have them take care of it,
Well, he's just an electrician, so you got smoke alarms, and you got, the outlets, but then you gotta have, your,
Railing
railings
guy.
and your eyewash. I'm not saying don't do it, I'm just saying is, I feel your pain in business. Insurance companies come in, OSHA comes in, the state comes in, they all have different ideas. They literally will make you get rid of a coffee pot if doesn't.
Well, they gotta justify their jobs.
Yeah,
They
sure.
come
I
out and
think the
find
thing is
something.
Right, and that's exactly what it is.
It's
They're not
not-
in there because they care about their safety, they're in there to justify their job. That's, I truly believe that's most of their reason. And I'm not saying don't do it, but I agree with Nancy, we should do, get the eye wash, I have no problem with that, get it. Do a
What are the
couple
emergency
things.
lights? They just need batteries, I think he said?
Yeah,
But you
probably-
probably can't get the battery, or you'll probably replace the whole thing, it's so old.
It'd be easier,
Yeah.
yes. Yep.
The reality of it is that I'm gonna go to work tomorrow, and I'm gonna forget about all this stuff, because it's like I'm gonna get bogged down in the
I
hat.
know.
I mean, it's so hard to keep things going nowadays. Like if I break a bolt and it's bigger than,
Right, it's a 2-inch bolt.
yeah, or it's a 3/4 inch.
You can't
bolt.
get it in the town.
I gotta go to Pittsburgh, like I waste half a day going to get one bolt to keep something running.
Right. You gotta go fast enough.
It's, yeah.
And they don't have it, and then they say, well, we can get it tomorrow morning.
Exactly.
If that's the case, come on.
There's all these things. Last
I'll get it.
Last week, I'm going down the road and our ramp just died. I'm like, it seems like it ran out of fuel, so I towed it back to the garage and spent, a day figuring out what was wrong with that. And it's just.
Yep.
I prioritize weekly but daily, it's all of a sudden something comes up. And you just have to get through it, I have to have the truck running to do the rest of it, so.
We understand, Dave.
Yeah, it always
We
goes
know-
smoother in your head, right? Then you try to go
Yeah.
do it and you
Yeah.
don't expect someone to throw the wrench in the gear.
That's what keeps me in business, is there's no hardware.
There's always a
slack,
wrench.
I mean, I make parts because they can't buy them. Oh, I ordered this, and it's coming out of China, and it's gonna take 6 months. And it's $400. I'm like, yeah, I can make that, and it's $1,200. Make it. Cause I can't wait, And that's where we're at right now. They just closed the hardware store in North End, it's closing. Oh, I'm Sean Street. Now you gotta drive a little farther, right?
Yeah,
Go
that's
to
okay.
Duke's and stand at
Yeah.
the light there.
It's always, there's,
So you pay for a 1/2-inch bowl, you're paying $7 for a 1/2-inch bowl. I can buy a whole box for that. But that's what they got you for.
some of the smaller stuff, we have an assortment that I
Yeah.
try to keep handy, because running down the street for every non-bolt, I think, all times not practical.
Well, think about it, see which one you can work on and,
I'll look it over again, I thought the eye wash seemed like we were trying. It was
Yeah.
simple.
yep,
That's
And it was
something
something practical that I.
you should have
wanted to
too.
use.
Yeah.
We do, but it's not good enough for what they say. I've got 2 bottles, they're mounted on the wall, and if you got something in your eye, you could wash,
Yeah.
I do have something, but that's not good enough for their liking, so. It's like everything else, it's okay, but they suggest something better.
or get the emergency lights, but I think they've gotta be hooked up to, electrician's gotta hook them up.
Yeah, something tells me
Yeah.
trying to tell you.
The light comes on, it says exit. I know where the exit is. This isn't, people aren't in there that don't know how to get out of the building. This is how my mind works. Is that a priority? No, not at all.
No.
Well,
Then
they
what is
make
it, John
all these
Bowles got
rules,
a
like,
structure
big
up there.
municipalities.
He's supposed to have
They
the
make all the
structure,
rules
he's
like
like
big
the only guy,
municipalities.
who's gonna carry on the structure?
Exactly, they down away
Just
from
like for
Yeah,
2 people
but
in
he's
town with 2 people.
gotta have it.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm trying to ignore it, but I know that I just can't, because then the road's gonna wash away. Next time a thunderstorm, the road's gonna wash away.
Mhm.
And you're like, oh, why were you working on that light?
Right.
Aren't you the highway department? It's just, there's no end. I mean, the roof needs to be fixed, the doors need to be fixed,
Right. Did you get a quote on the doors yet?
he didn't get me one. The
Could we
roof
use,
I'm more concerned with.
use the ARPA money for the electrical fixes and stuff like that, or no? The lights? The outlets?
I think we could put that all in one big ball of maintenance, couldn't we?
Yeah,
That's what I would do. I mean, I wouldn't just say it's for this light, it's for
maintenance.
$40,000 of maintenance.
Yeah.
Have you, did you get any quotes on the roof or anything on
I
that?
don't know, I can, I just didn't.
That's gonna be.
Worry, that was another thing, worry, we're trying to get some clarification on this grant that we're hopefully gonna put in for, because we got the audit. So they come do the energy audit, and then tell us what their findings are, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
we fill out a paper which doesn't even exist at this point, so we're not behind anything.
We're on the list, right?
So,
For
when
the
we found
inspection.
out, I thought, once they did the assessment, then we could implement what they said. Like, I
Yeah.
thought money followed this, but what she said was, well, we're hoping, but there's no money out there yet. So this assessment is basically just gonna be informational, and then maybe next year or the year after, you can apply on a competitive level for a grant that you may or may not get.
Have they come down to do the assessment yet?
Well, they're scheduling it.
Right, that's
Yeah.
the last I
They've
remember you
been out
saying.
and they're scheduling it,
Right.
so.
Which has been going on for I don't know how long.
Mhm.
They're
Right,
almost as bad
we
as
have
they-
dates to actually pick.
Okay.
This is the problem I have with everything, is you can't get anybody to do their job anymore. Everything is just, like the sweeper this year. Call the sweeper, we signed his contract. Where is he? He was supposed to be here in April, May.
Mhm.
Not using him again.
Yep.
I mean, I think we're gonna be fine without doing it, but I called them numerous times, called the cell phone, they're still in business, called the office.
Because snow.
Nobody, why bother at this point?
Right.
Hard to find a good product.
So, and who else does it? There really isn't. We've had both of them, and I've had issues with both of them, both companies. That's why I went to this other one, because the other guy didn't ever show up either. The town of Stamford is not anybody's priority.
No.
We're not, we don't buy big.
Does the, Pittsfield Lawn Tractor have one you can rent?
We may be able to do something with the loader, where we can get a sweeper, Greensboro has one, that's on the front of their loader. But it's a day a year, I mean, it's kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, how much do you spend on something like that? They usually don't rent something.
it's gotta have the
Yeah,
protection
You
too.
can go in and have these
Breathers and all that.
it's kind
towel
of,
nearby or something.
like I said, we're small, if we don't want.
That's a good
to-
suggestion, though. Would Greensboro, would it fit on our tractor or no?
I don't
You
know.
know, or
It
could
goes
we,
on their loader.
could we borrow their loader for one day? And when it breaks, will it?
Yeah,
Yeah. we will.
Yeah, I know.
But it might be an idea to hire them out. And we don't even borrow it, have their man come and do it for us for one day, we pay them,
we can ask.
it wouldn't hurt.
You can ask it next year, because if we don't need it this year,
We can ask. It's-
most of the roads are clean now. And
Yeah, and some of that, the sweeping was something that I think years ago, we used more sand on the blacktop, it was really something that
Yes.
needed to be done, and now it's kind of a hit and miss thing. It's nice, because it keeps, the grass starts to creep out on the blacktop, and the sweeper kind of keeps, you know, the road as wide as it should be. And it does pick up some debris, but, you know, you get a thunderstorm or two, and you can't tell if you swept or not. You got dirt back on the road, so.
You guys don't have time to go out there and.
Hey, if that's what you want me to do, I'll do anything you guys want me to do, but I just know what the reality is I know what's a priority and what isn't, and I never seem to get everything needed done. Which, for the most part, works. We get by. But if you stop to do these other things, it's not gonna.
Okay. What else on roads? Lori put in our box the culvert on Sportsman's Road, a diagram,
Yeah, oh, that's right.
and conceptual design.
So, kind of what I was saying about that project, it's not quite as simple as just going up there and throwing a bigger pipe in. I'm guessing how
Dave,
it's
have you talked to Alphamont at all?
well, they came down here.
Yeah, I'm on that board, so we can pass it.
If you wanna take one of them.
Yeah,
I just got this today, so,
okay, because I can just talk to Mike Cole about it,
yeah,
so that I can hand off.
so I can.
So maybe,
Oh, way down
maybe you should
there.
get the actual hydrological study and the copy of that.
Well, they did the hydraulic study.
I don't know.
See, so,
Seems like.
it's like there's
It's a 90-degree.
two different hands in the state, this one's doing this one's doing this. So the hydraulic study addresses the culvert that's there. And then the stream alteration guy who gives you the permit to do the project does this. And says, oh, this is,
And they don't.
The alteration almost looks like they're putting it back where the original stream was.
That's exactly what they want.
Just bent it down the road here, it probably because it's one culvert instead of two,
Well,
when they did it like that.
yeah, that's why they did it like that. Years ago, they wanted to cheapen it up, so. So what basically, in talking to the stream alteration specialist or whatever you want to use, because of the grade's not very steep there, you're always gonna have sediment backing up. So even if you put a bigger culvert in, you're gonna have the same issues, it's gonna plug that culvert and run over the road. They suggested raising the road a foot to be able to get in a bigger culvert in that area, we'd have to raise the road a foot. Just to put in something bigger, and you can read this other hydraulic study on it. And, you know,
That's a speed bump. Yeah.
it's, yeah,
Is that-
unfortunately, this, like John said, this is the world we live in now, where I don't just to get, go out and fix the problem, everybody else has control.
It would take you 2 years to get all the approvals.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the Army Corps of Engineers asking 50, then you gotta go to the landowners, Applewall and some of this, so you gotta, I mean, that's unbelievable.
So they're gonna move the culvert down on Suzanne Drive, this is what it looks like, right? Is that what they wanna do?
So yeah, it's a two culvert.
Okay,
So it'd be two culverts, so.
Probably 2.5.
yeah, oh, up there and down, right,
You know,
right.
I'm not sure working in the woods and.
But what about that little stream that comes down almost across from Suzanne Drive? It was running not too much, but when it rains, I'm sure it's gonna come right down
Well, that's
into the old,
They're gonna
probably
leave-
the old culvert, unless they take that one up. Cause there's still one coming down from the woods.
Were they gonna leave that culvert?
Yeah, you leave the ones there, it's not fatal, it's
No.
just when you get a,
Yeah,
you know,
It's to
flooding
get,
event.
it's to put extra water somewhere.
yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what it's,
Just can't hold the capacity.
if you put a bigger culvert in there, so instead of having a floodplain, it's basically what you have now with that culvert. It makes the road and the surrounding area floodplain, so it disperses the energy. So once you send it all through the culvert, what do you think it's gonna do to where it's coming out? I mean, is it gonna gut right down by that guy's garage? Like, you think you're fixing the problem, but you're not, and that's why they come up with this other plan.
When you get a drop, and on the other side of any culvert, you get a drop.
Yeah.
So,
But now you're putting all the water instead of just fanning it out. So it's gonna, you know, it's gonna channelize even more. And,
So we could do floodplain area.
yeah, well, that's what would end up happening. You'd end up, it'd probably come down through and go right through your house after, because now you're sending all of it instead
It's
of
all
dispersing.
in, yeah.
Yeah, which is why we have floodplain and why they try not to let you go, because they want to not have that issue. You fix your problem.
Just moving it down the road.
somebody else.
Yeah, we're coming to fell your trees down.
Really?
Culvert
I
in.
thought we were supposed to fill it up.
Okay. Anything else then, Dave?
I don't think so.
Lori, can I get a copy of that? Recycling.
So we closed the recycling center because we had no power yesterday.
Right. And I didn't notice any bags up there last night, nobody threw them
No.
over or came up there, so that was good,
Yeah, I don't think anybody went in there.
good.
I did have a call from somebody from the state. I don't know if we took air conditioners, and air conditioners are still on our list. I think.
They emailed me and I emailed them back a sheet with all of our fees, and we do take air
But
conditioners.
we took it off the list.
So,
I thought we
Did we
wanted
found
to.
that belt
Because it's got the
bill?
free on it.
Refrigerated.
and they were
I thought we were gonna, all that stuff was gonna go
down to that,
up to
we
the.
just said take them down to
hazardous
North
waste-
Adams,
hazardous
or
waste collection.
Whoever,
save them for that guy with the refrigerator.
somebody tried to bring it to that, and they won't take it.
To North Adams?
No, to, I think, the
Oh,
Asbury.
oh.
Yeah, 'cause somebody has to like manually remove that freon out of there, you can't just throw it out.
Right.
Used to be a guy in Clarksburg that would always
Well, the tag.
drain them.
But that old Freon is now worth about $5,000 a pound.
Really?
There's
So
whole
did they-
businesses where people go around and just drain the refrigerator.
So, somebody called because they wanted to get rid of their air conditioner,
Mhm.
and what did we tell them?
I
Still
didn't
on the
speak
list.
to the person, it was the SWIP people who received the call. They wanted to know what, you know,
But this is the easiest thing, do you want it still on the list? Sounds like we don't.
We don't
Probably
have
just
to,
take
we
it off.
probably
Take
should.
it off.
Yeah,
Yeah, what's,
I think if you
From
take
this
them,
moment on,
then
we
you're
just- what are we
liable
gonna
to
take
have
it off?
somebody
Yeah.
drain the
It'd be
stuff
nice
out,
to-
which is probably gonna cost you money.
Do we take
Nice to
refrigerators?
represent people.
Do we take refrigerators? We take those anymore?
We had this discussion a while.
Yeah,
We
I
did
don't remember, I don't remember the result.
Until last year.
I don't really, I think it
did
was
you
kind
store them
of
for that guy?
up in the air. We had-
There- I would take them off the list and there's- Who's that,
We can,
that
like
new
we
recycling place in Adams?
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
refer
I know
to-
the guy that owns it, I know him real well.
I'm just referring to
I
them
don't
because
even remember the
they're,
name, I mentioned that at a meeting, but,
cause they take mattresses and
Yeah.
take all that stuff.
yeah, I can look into that if you want, and ask
See
if
if
he
he
takes
takes-
those.
And and the individual people bring them down? Could I bring my mattress down or my,
I'll ask him, I'll ask him.
or does it have to be a town or a store?
so maybe when we redo our informational sheet for starting November 1st, we wanna make some changes.
I mean, they don't just take them, he charges to take them, of course. you
Right.
know. The same thing with mattress, whenever
And I
they,
think he was
Yeah,
selling
I mean, I wanna
35,
take
40
him-
bucks for.
yeah, I can get a price list of what he takes.
I wanna take them to the town and bring them to him, I would just refer stuff like that, to, like, hey, if you got a refrigerator or air conditioner, call this guy. And he, let them, if they wanna get rid of it, let them pay it.
That'd be good on the informational sheet about what we take and don't take, to have some links to people who do take
If we
stuff.
don't take it, yeah.
Right. I think we did say that one time that it was just in the selectmen minutes.
Yeah, I
It's
think
not
North
like-
Adams takes pretty much everything, they charge you, you know, it just costs money to get rid of stuff.
But they wouldn't take it from Stamford.
Yeah, no, I
You
mean, I
have to-
have a
You got
permit
a
for
dump,
that. Yeah, I mean, I'll,
contractor permit.
I mean, I bring up stuff for North Adams all the time, I have a dump trailer, I fill right up and bring it up there. And there's certain things that, like you said, if there's a refrigerator in there, you have to separate it.
Mhm.
They charge you X amount of dollars for that, and then demo and stuff like that goes into the trash, you know, goes into different stuff. They charge by the pound, it's not cheap, you work over the scale, there's your money.
Anything else on recycling? Okay. Emergency management, I guess Bill gave Lori a couple bills that we have to pay for the
Yeah,
fire truck now.
we've got to the point where they've delivered the cab and chassis. And that's $107,000. And some miscellaneous.
107,670.
And at the same time, we're getting credit $4,429.03 for paying for that chassis now rather than when the engine's delivered,
Mhm.
because it saves them having to finance it.
So the 107 is with the credit, with the $4,000 credit.
The 107 has to be paid, the credit comes off of the 525,000
Okay,
for the engine.
okay,
So we get to 521.
okay. So there's money, with the 50,000 that was appropriated this year, there'll be 232,000 in the fire department
Yep.
account. So with no problem paying this 107 out of there.
Yep, that's where it's supposed to come from.
Okay.
And
I don't
Hey,
I
say
don't know
$4,000.
why we even keep that money. Why don't we give it right to the fire department? I mean, it's a warrant article.
Taxpayer money it is, I don't.
It's a warrant article. I don't know why we
Well-
keep track of that. I mean, you're a separate entity. You're not.
it's invested,
Yeah.
I guess, and so we're taking advantage of the best opportunity. Lori has it invested. I didn't make the decision.
I guess I'm gonna say it was always done that way.
But it's good to keep an eye
Yeah.
on it till we,
It's
good for
money
taxpayers.
accumulated, it's almost like it's a replacement fund.
Yeah,
So except that we've already authorized disbursement of it. And then we have the numbers that are coming up to consider. Because with the money that will come in 26 and 27, that's how far we had authorized at town meeting at 50,000 a year from 23 to 27 is going to leave 141,000
on
still
shot,
due,
yeah.
yeah, unaccounted for. So if we get to the point where we ask to continue that replacement fund at 50,000 a year, it'll cover the interest on what's borrowed and all, and then an additional 3 years, so it'll be 28, 29, 30, and it's done.
Okay, I was gonna say, you don't think we should borrow the money now and pay the interest
Oh, we are going to have to borrow that money
before the 27 comes up?
at the end of this year.
Okay.
Well, yeah,
Because interest rates are still going up, that's all I'm saying.
at the end of this year, we're gonna have to borrow the money. The first payment for it will be in 25.
Bill, we may have to reword that article because in 2022 town meeting, we said the town will raise and appropriate $50,000 annually for a 5-year period beginning in 2022.
23.
22. So 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, we can only go out 5 years. So
Well, we can
next,
do that next year.
in 26, we'll have to reword the article or put another article on to continue because the last
We're
payment
gonna have to
will
do
not be in
something.
the
We're either
27.
gotta
Can we just do it next
warrant
year
article,
and amend this article, add to the end of it?
or write a new article.
Write a new article.
The reason we kept this was 5 years is a commitment maximum without considering bonding.
Right.
So when we run out of the 5 years, we can look for permission for a 3-year
Either way, it doesn't-
program.
We used to
we
do
gotta
it
get
like,
there, we bought the truck, we gotta get there, so.
yeah, well, I think they used to do it, every year put this article on the town meeting. Say this is the first of 12 payments, and the next year was the second 12 payments. And that way people understood that, oh, we are getting to the end of this payment here. Without saying 5 years, we should vote on it every year. That's what we kind of learned, I think.
You know, the auditors felt like if you're like on a 12-year plan and you're on day, year 7 and the voters voted down, now what? If you don't want it to be an article, you need to have it in your budget.
To go to that end of that
Go to the
number.
And the
That's
5 year,
enough.
oh, okay.
Which is why we really need an article for 3 years.
If we come up soon to overlap it
Yeah.
all.
Because either way around, we need the money by the end of
Yeah.
24.
I think somewhere though they said we can't commit money, but we do have a contract. So if we didn't have a contract, maybe we can't
It would
commit
be a
money
problem.
for, I wanna raise
Oh,
$50,000.
just in case.
Just in case.
Right.
But
We
we
might
got a
wanna buy
contract.
something that
Right.
we can't do it.
Just as a question-
We have the number.
We
Okay.
can't commit future town people to something that we said might happen.
Right.
But
One
we know
step
this.
forward. Paul negotiated the purchase of 2 new ambulances for Northern Berkshire Medical. And found that the best he did was with Adams Co-op. They gave a very favorable rate. He's willing to approach them for a similar rate for a loan for us, unless you or Lori would rather do that yourselves.
If he can help us, I think that'd be good.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he has the people and he knows that now that we're within, at the beginning of the year, we couldn't ask them for something when we didn't, they could only commit 6 months forward. Now we know we're within the 6-month range, so they can give us a firm commitment.
So when do we expect to have this fire truck?
It's not a promise, but the likelihood is November.
Ooh, nice.
So this November?
Yeah, this
Nice.
November. The difficulty of it is you don't wanna take your brand new shiny fire truck and bring it out in the snow and the sleet and the mud. So.
Well, you gotta use it.
But you gotta. It may, depending on where we are with engine 2, the white one, which will go once it arrives. It may be, we may park engine 2 on the outside, take its space and put the brand new
While you're
engine
training for the,
in the back corner. Also have it for training as people get used to a new system. And hopefully not put it out in the nasty stuff if you can avoid it, but it's there to do the job.
so one little note on, I have a customer that buys chassis, a lot of chassis by the thousands. And they buy Ford chassis, I'm gonna say it was 2022. They were paying about 36 to 38,000 for a chassis, and now they're paying 84,000 for a chassis. So that's where the numbers have gone. So, Paul actually mentioned to me and Glenn, it was really a great idea for us to jump on this because we would be paying almost.
When we do, yes.
Yeah, at least 50% more, that's where it is,
So we'll have to see where we are. Once it's here, we're going to start looking to go to Mack truck collectors with a promise that we could probably release it in the fall or early spring, the one that we originally bought from California. And if we can get $5,000 or $6,000 back out of it, it'll go to the equipment that we still will need, new equipment. We budgeted about $10,000 for the small stuff that you've got to put on the engine. All right, then I'll ask Paul to go ahead.
So I cut the check and just call you when it's ready? Am I just gonna mail it in or?
Mail it to him.
Mail it
They'll be looking for it.
yeah.
If there's more questions about it, if I don't have an answer, I'll be happy to try and get it.
Or you can do like FEMA and ask them for more questions. And now what was it again? What size tires are on?
The biggest thing they want to save for tradition is the big electric siren, the dynamic one with the motor that winds up and winds down. Apparently they're like $7,000 or $8,000 to buy new, if you can find them. So that'll go on the new engine.
Okay, anything else, Bill?
All that I've got.
Okay. DVFiber financial assistance review policies. It was mentioned at a previous meeting that we should have a policy, but I think we kind of decided that we were going to give $500 per application.
Up to.
So Lori and I worked on the application, and if that's, should we put that on the application? Select board approves up to $500 per application per household. And then it says, I am requesting funding for the following project: installation of DVFiber at home address.
Sure.
And then application should be submitted with a self-certification form to the select board in a sealed envelope. Applications will be considered as received and reviewed privately. I think those were the questions we had, Lori, and Bob never got back to us on it, so I guess it's okay with him. So you have the final form if you wanna
So I can finalize it.
finalize it, get it ready for anybody that wants it.
And I'm still trying to get them to identify the 5 households that they claim are awaiting installation, just they have some kind of installation problem. But with all their privacy
Yes.
routine, Bob and I both took their course and signed off for a certificate that we would hold everything private and confidential. They still haven't given us the 5 names.
Okay, delinquent dog update.
So, Luke's tickets have really worked. We're down to 10 people and 15 dogs.
Are the
Wait a
10,
minute,
are the 10 people the regulars, or are they, following up on,
well, they just paid a couple weeks ago for last year's.
yeah. Pretty soon it's gonna be 10.
Couple regulars.
10 is good.
It amazes me, this
I
one.
think we should probably like, delinquent taxes.
She got it.
I mean, that's what I'm saying,
We could do a
this
little
is,
shaming.
this-
Or
yeah.
just to remind people if they
Yeah.
forgot or they're not paying attention or they didn't get Luke's
Oh,
bill.
yeah.
Yeah.
this is
whatever.
worse than the taxes, cause
I
it's,
had some like, just
I mean,
don't tell my
it's-
husband.
We found substantial, I think it was like 2
Yeah.
years.
We weren't at like 10 or 15 until just like
November.
March.
Yeah, following March. So what's his next step? Are these people coming in or calling you or anything, or
They have been coming in.
these 10 people, or?
Well, those 10 people, we haven't heard anything from.
Okay.
I mean, I guess I'd have to look at our ordinance if the next step might be the court system.
Yeah, I would, have Luke proceed with the next step then.
what's it, $10, something like that, close enough? Or,
It's
$12.
$9 if it's neutered and 13 if it's,
I mean,
You forget though.
if you do it by April 1st.
I can't believe this.
And then it's
I
a
was
$2
wondering.
and $4 penalty.
See, some of these people have kids,
How much is
why
the
don't they
penalty?
get the
$4?
rabies shots for
$2
these
if
animals?
it's
Right.
fixed and $4 if it's not.
so they won't pay the 9, but when you get the $2 penalty, that makes it pay.
No, I get that reminder.
Didn't we, charge them more for
Well,
this?
these guys we're doing $50 penalty.
Okay.
So these guys, some of them are crappy.
When your dog
Some
fine
of
goes
them
over
are
your
good.
taxes, then,
Lisa, you had a question?
Yeah, I'm sorry, this sounds like a time, but back to the emergency management, and while Bill's still here, in case you leave.
Like, what are we doing about, I don't know if this is the right word to talk about, but the heat, like, I heard like a lot of people are using the bathroom outside of Billmont's, the porta potty and stuff, like, who's taking care of, like, when we have, are we gonna have that discussion about what happens during heat or storms and the power goes out?
I'm sorry, who's taking care of?
Like emergency shelter.
Is that, yeah, that kind of thing. Emergency
Cooling
shelter.
centers.
Well, we
In
don't
this
have
case,
a
it'd be that,
cooling
like
center
bathrooms,
here.
what happens if, because we have a generator, but like a lot of people don't, what happens when you can't use your bathroom or what? I feel like if they're going to build ones in the porta potty, I feel like we have a problem in town that we, I don't know, we need to look into.
I think it's the same that we dealt with before, that somebody's gotta be here to man the building
Right.
and open the building. Is it nighttime, who's staying overnight, and
I know, I just thought I'd bring it up because, you know, with extreme heat, it's not as bad as cold, but kinda can be.
I thought of that too.
These are the kind of thing you get responsibility for is, one, who's gonna, you know, we can find somebody to open the building. Who's going to stay? And actually, if you open the building and you follow the routine that we're supposed to, you're supposed to take information and log who came in and also who left, so that you don't wind up with some kid in the corner somewhere after you relock the building, like you know in the back corner of a school bus. And somebody's gotta do that.
become
I
a
mean, do you
the
get a team
caretaker.
for that or
It's not-
something?
I'm sorry?
Do you develop a team for
I
that?
thought Bob was working on something like that.
There is, yeah, it's a
Just worries.
civilian emergency response team.
Is that emergent,
Yeah, call
under the
it CERT.
emergency management people?
Yeah, that's his
Right, so that's-
purview.
It's non-first responders helping in an emergency situation.
Right.
And so, 15, 20 years ago, we wound up with getting, some assistance from Red Cross, when Red Cross was still a lot more active in Bennington County, which they're not now. We have some guidelines. We need people. The 5 or 6 people that we gathered up at the time, there were probably 3 left in town, including Nancy, Joan, and me. Some have passed away, some have moved out of town. Those people that are, anxious, terribly anxious to get involved in, civic authority, civic assistance, be happy to try and get them trained.
What kind of training would it involve? I feel like we have enough people in town that care that,
Well, not only, but it isn't enough to say I care.
yeah.
You're willing to learn what you're supposed to be doing. Those forms that ought to be filled out, you're gonna take the responsibility that if there's a storm, and even if your house is flooded, you're gonna come here and help other people.
There was some discussion from Bob Briggs about instigating or encouraging people taking it upon themselves to find, it's sort of like when we had those neighborhood, team, information people, but for each person to take sort of the responsibility to reach out to, the neighbors that they know and say, okay, Doug, come to my house if you need to jump in the swimming pool. Or my stove has gas, and so if there's no, if there's no electricity and you don't want peanut butter and jelly for dinner, come to my house and we'll make hot dogs. But to find each other, to, encourage versions of finding each other. And it's not comprehensive by any means, but it's doable.
Maybe even back to the captains then, or whatever.
Yeah, neighborhood captains, or, seeing, especially for people who have, if they're on any kind of life support thing that's gonna depend on, then they need to either have a generator or know someone with a generator,
That my neighbors and I, we all say, okay, I have a stove.
Right.
My neighbor has a better generator than
Right.
us, but she doesn't have a stove that works on that generator, and we trade around.
Exactly.
So
Like
maybe
my
it's not
neighbor was like, I have a
formal
generator,
training.
do you have anything that's gonna go bad in your fridge, because I don't have a generator, bring it up. So, that kind of,
Could we get some of that down?
I think at one time there was probably a greater sense of that in town. And then
Yeah, but
at
let's
some
start
point
it up
kind of
again.
Lost its way.
let's start the conversation. It
I
can
checked
hurt.
with my neighbors that I knew. I called one, Pat. I'm fine.
Yeah, when she tells me that,
I'm fine.
every time there's a problem,
I,
we're fine.
Yeah.
they're
And
fine.
they're in their 80s and they are always fine.
Yeah.
Right,
And
But they know
They
the
literally
opposite.
sat in front of their gas stove when they lost power in the
Yep.
winter, opened the oven, and that's where they stayed.
Yep.
wow,
They don't
kept
wanna
warm
come
by
out.
that, and I said,
Wow.
I got wood, come on up, I got a
Yeah.
generator, everything's the same as when we had power at my house.
yeah,
We're good, but thank you for asking.
Yep,
Yeah.
and another lady, I said, I got the water, you want a shower?
right.
Nope, I'm not opening my refrigerator, freezer,
Yeah.
I have a gas stove, I'm fine, I need my water for my.
The sense of self-reliance and
That's what it
independence is beautiful and strong, and it seems like encouraging some version of those conversations.
So that's where
I
I'm
think-
sorry. I don't wanna lack,
And,
compassion, yeah,
yeah,
but what constitutes an emergency? Because we have to go to the bathroom? Or
Yes.
is,
Yes.
that's what I'm saying is, again, I'm trying to be gentle here, but if I have to go to the bathroom, I've been camping before.
Yeah, But not everybody
You know?
lives in the woods.
Well, but this is Stamford, Vermont, not New York City, so I'm wondering why people, where does it end? Because I do, and again, I'm not trying, I know there's elderly people, and I do agree with the neighborhood helping each other, that's community. And I would have no problem helping people, but I don't have the time to go to all the training. I mean, I used to be a fireman, I know what it takes to be to train just to, that was, what, 30 years ago, and it's double that now. So I understand all that, but where does it end? We had one time where people wanted to come here because they felt alone, so they just want to come and talk, but there's no emergency. And that's where that volunteer system gets broke down when they go, geez, I know a guy that does a soup kitchen right now, he does it's a Meals on Wheels, and he loves to do it, and he started with 40 people, now they're up to 100 something households in North Adams. But after he gives the free meal, he sees the same person down at Cumberland Farms buying a pack of cigarettes, and it bothers him. He keeps doing it, but it bothers him. Where does it end? So I'm not saying we shouldn't have something like, but I really agree that if we could take it amongst ourselves, not just in this room, but pass the word along. Marta and I and Dan Poffin and Kurt have talked about this, I don't know, informational thing this fall, or maybe next fall, whenever we can do it. They already have in the school, like a craft thing. Have a booth that says, this is what we suggest, here's some pamphlets that you can go to North Adams Shelter, which is open, or you can, this are things where you can buy a generator and it's inexpensive, and how to use a generator, you know, I don't know.
We can find ourselves a community room somewhere, it could go along with helping with some of this.
Yeah, I mean,
Even just the
it's a big project to take on.
Who instituted the neighborhood captain? They work with something like that, like a phone tree.
I don't know that I don't know how it ever worked or.
Did they got them, but
Some worked and some didn't.
Yeah.
Ours did.
Right.
Like, Mary Duluth, it was ours, and it worked.
Right.
Like, so some
It's
people.
all about the person.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like
all
Bill
about the
says, when you
person.
have good volunteers,
Yeah.
you're gonna have a good system.
Exactly, but even just having something like at this resiliency,
Mhm.
like fair that we're
Yeah.
talking about, even having something that's like a checklist for people to think about, you know, in the event of a power outage, what would be the things that for them to think for themselves?
Right.
And then just be like, do you have a resource that you can reach out to? And similarly, you know, what resources do you have that you would be able to share with, you know, a limited number so that you're not taking everybody in, you know, that you could offer to some of
or
your,
neighbors,
Neighbors.
close neighbors.
you know, and just
all this-
put it in people's
Exactly.
minds.
All the stuff
Because
around
even on
resiliency.
Facebook with this last thing, there were people beautifully, it was very heartening, saying, you know, is anybody having trouble
Need help.
in this storm? Does anybody need help? Which I was like,
All the stuff
This
around
is the good part
resiliency
for
and
us.
emergency management they're all great conversations. I just don't know how to coalesce it all, right? How do we all get
Exactly.
together and
well,
start
that's why
talking about this
each
stuff?
person kind of has to be
Just don't know
responsible
the best format
for
to
finding
organize it all.
what their emergency plan is.
The less you do through the town, the less formal
Agreed.
training you need.
Right,
And
Yes.
the better
Yeah.
you can get things done.
Yeah,
It's just like, go all the way back to what God said, this is the world we live in. The minute you become a formal entity,
Yeah.
insurance, liability, all
Yeah.
this All this-
regulated up the wazoo.
kind of red tape gets in the way sometimes, you know? And
Informally, every emergency, every house turns into a primitive camp
Right.
for 60 days, figure it out.
You know, I hooked up 3 generators yesterday, so I only needed 1 for myself. They were my family members, but apparently I'm the guy that knows
You're the
how to do
one.
it, so.
Oh, cool, now.
But I have 5 generators, so I had 2 extra ones, you know?
Well, like Bill said too, if we open the school, you have to go through a certain protocol with state, local Red Cross, and
Now, Bob did put,
Become the caretaker to everyone that's
yeah,
there.
Bob did put on Facebook, if there's anybody that is really and truly need anything, call 911. You
Yeah,
know, and then he said, call him if you need anything, call Bob and he will guide you or get you out.
Bob does much better with social media than I ever did.
Sure,
because I don't have
yeah.
a Facebook
Yeah.
account. I'm not comfortable to try and use it.
mhm.
We tried for years to repeat and repeat at town meeting and
Yeah.
minutes for people to reach out if they need. But.
did
some
anybody
people-
ever fill out those forms that you had? What are your needs? Bring them back to, did they go to the fire department or town office or? I don't think they came here. I think they probably went to the fire department. What are your needs? Are you on oxygen? Do you need,
At one point, well, you know how far back it goes?
yeah,
It was a card attached or inserted to the town report, and Yankee Atomic paid for it.
yeah, yeah.
And we got probably about 15 from the whole town. People don't want to admit that they need help, they don't want to identify a medical condition that needs assistance.
Yeah.
Well,
that's on them then.
Well, that's why you train everyone to do the best they can for themselves, rather than just trying to be
I mean, there's a checkoff list, Laura, that, you know, a booklet that the state publishes.
Oh,
We can get copies of them and hand them out.
yeah,
We have handed them out at town meeting in past
let's
years.
have it at the fair.
That's
Yeah,
that
why
little
should the
first,
first day?
that's
You
that
gotta-
little
you gotta
booklet,
do it yourself.
that little flip page booklet.
Yep.
Done with delinquent dogs, correspondence.
Correspondence. So, I received a letter from the IRS this week. I'm happy to report that at least we have resolved filing for the fourth quarter of December 2023. They are happy. The third quarter is up in the air, and the first two quarters I have sent in my letter disputing their findings and asked them to recalculate and review the information and basically I want my.
I don't know if John and Doug are familiar with what happened, or
So,
IRS loves
so
us.
we
I do the same thing that happens to me every year. You file your taxes and they're like, oh, hey, we found out you owe more money, and then you gotta pay, they want you to pay more money.
we pay payroll every 2 weeks, so we automatically would submit the withheld taxes to the IRS every 2 weeks. And then at some point, they said, look, you withhold less than $50,000 of taxes in a year, you should be paying them monthly, not every 2 weeks. So I got this letter saying you need to change how you pay. Okay, recreate the wheel, we started paying them monthly, and then, 5 months later, they sent us a terrific bill and said, hey, you didn't do it quarterly like you have been.
Oh my
And they
God.
charged us like $1,800 in penalty and interest for not filing it every 2 weeks when they told me to file it monthly. And I disputed it, and they looked at it and said, sorry, Charlie, you owe it. And then when the second quarter ending June 30th came through, they hit us again with another like
Easy
$1,100,
money.
$1,200 fine.
Maybe it's time to write our representatives or senators.
Well, we were in between with Laura Sibilia leaving and then the new guy being sick, and that really, but
No, but I mean, you call, what's our representative, and I'm talking congressional, because if it's with the IRS,
well, we fought it, and hopefully this will work. If not, we'll continue up the chain.
She
But
finally got to talk to somebody, right?
I finally got to talk to someone, and they guided me through, fill out a Schedule B and fill it out this way, and maybe this will help them to recognize that. I mean, I would have never changed how I did it if they didn't write me a letter saying you have to do it monthly. So, and they have not even reversed that letter, but I've gone back to filing it every 2 weeks like I always have, and
But the thing is, they have the money every 2 weeks instead of monthly. You think they would be happy
right.
Right.
that they're sending it in on time?
So it's just been a difficult,
But it's
process.
good that we're not gonna be fined for the third quarter, or fourth quarter.
Fourth quarter. Yeah, the first two, we've already been fined, and I'm trying to get our money back. The third quarter, they haven't made a decision on yet.
You should send them a letter saying that you think you overpaid $1,800 and see if they send it back.
3,600.
She's got it written down. It wasn't a fluffy letter either.
Not quite right.
It wasn't fluffy.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing it for 13 years, we've never had a problem until they changed the system, and then they didn't change the system in their computer, so that's.
That's where the
That's what it was, yeah.
It's not unusual too, you call one person, they tell you one thing, you call another one, and you get something completely, the writing is not really what it is.
I had that too, yeah,
We've had it.
so,
Good, keep on them, Lori.
yeah.
Any other correspondence?
No, just some reminders.
Old business.
Well, I guess I can mention this on our whole business, the, state trooper's been in town,
Mhm.
3 days in a row, actually, it was on social media that he was here one day and they said about time, but he's been in town, he was at least 3 days, I met him, I wish I could remember his name right this second, to write it down, Kyle, I think.
I've seen him twice.
He lives up in
A week
Waitsboro.
or 10 days.
Yeah, so
Was
was
he the gentleman trying to find the owner of the purple plate?
He was, I kinda was, I had my first question is, so you stopped a guy, he admitted to you he stole the bike, and you didn't ask him where it came from. Because he was reluctant, because the trooper was looking for the owner, because, so he was driving around asking anybody knows who this bike is, and I'm like, why didn't you ask the guy? That's it, I don't want to bad, he's a good guy, so, but I mentioned, while I had his attention, I asked him to try to do more patrols down here. He did mention the same old story, there's 7 or 8 of them, and they have, I don't know, they go from Manchester to Stamford, to, so they got a huge, and they only work, it's not like all 8 guys work at the same time, they have shifts. So you have like 3 guys on duty.
That means there's still 6 or 7 understaffed.
Right, so it's just, this is the world.
It's too bad he just couldn't,
Even just a cruise.
when he goes out, just
Yeah.
take
I
a
think
drive
I've seen him a
down
couple
and
times.
back up
Yeah,
or around
he
East
does.
Road and.
Yep, and he has been, I don't know if anybody's seen him.
I've seen him a couple
He
times.
was on, someone mentioned about weekends, one of the nights was Saturday night.
Yep,
You know?
that's what I took
So
on
you
him,
can't get no better than Saturday night, and he stayed all the way the whole night back and
Right-
forth.
right
He was in the
downtown for a
morning.
little while.
Yeah, so
That was-
you will hear down the road, someone's gonna say, why are state troopers in here, I just got stopped and I got in trouble. That's too bad, but I'm just saying, at least he's closer now, he might be able to do a little bit more, even if, like you said, even if he drives through once in a while and comes down, turns around,
Just
goes
makes
back
a
up.
presence, yeah.
That presence, he's a very nice guy, very
Or eat
approachable.
your sandwich in the church parking lot or whatever.
Yep.
Sometimes it's just the presence
Yep.
of being there.
And I will get his name again, I'm sorry, I had it in my head and I forgot when I came in, and I can't remember his name now. I think it's Stevens, Officer Stevens, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But yeah, and I just wanna let you know that he was in town. Go from there.
Okay, I'd just like to remind the board that we're doing a site inspection on Thursday, August 1st at 4:45, which will begin at the Stamford School, and we're going up to the intersection of trail number 301. No. Yes, that's where we're starting, 301.
So I have some signs proposals. I don't know if that's under old or new or whatever,
Nice.
but it's old. I got a couple different sizes. This is just to get you an idea of what a 3x4 square or 12 square sign looks like.
Nice.
This is 12 square, 3x4,
That's perfect.
That's great.
that's
That's
3x4.
That's beautiful.
And then this one's a little different, it's a little smaller, different format, but this is what a 12 square sign is.
Could we do both sides, so it's?
Yeah, so this would be one side,
I
and
really
then
like
I'm
the town
assuming if,
office up top and the school.
however you want, this is just, alright, so, wanna look at the other one?
Yep,
Alright, let's look at the other one.
Let's see the other one.
that looks nice.
That's nice, I like the font.
So this is like 30 by 54, I think, but it's like 11. So this is like a little under 12 square, it's like 11 and a quarter or something like that.
I like this one.
It seems like it jumps out a little bit more.
Yeah.
Well, I'm assuming we're doing a two-sided sign, and So-
That looks too big.
I have another one.
So it's
Yep, no,
not too
the
big,
other
it's
one had
within
an
the-
and too.
Right, the
this is within the
It's
zoning,
within the zoning.
zoning laws.
I would take
Yeah,
the
that does not
and
have the
off,
and or same.
take the and off Stanford School, Town Office, Library.
Yeah, I don't know if you want public library, town library, just library.
Just
Which one do you
library,
like, Shell?
Library.
just library.
Which one do you like? Which one do you like?
I like the bottom one.
We'll go with that one.
This one?
Well, which
I like the
one,
bottom.
I like the smaller one, because it was very visible.
This is the smaller one.
Okay.
Not by much.
Are the letters bigger or?
The
You
Stanford
wanna see side by
School,
side?
the Stanford School font is
Said you
bigger.
had
Yeah.
1 3 by
Wanna see
4.
them side by side? Do a
Yeah,
compare
here, I'll hold
and
that,
contrast.
so I got that picture, and
Yeah,
then maybe.
I got this side.
I like the ones with the lines in between.
I just
Stanford School, Town Office, Library.
Yeah, you don't even need public, just library, and it will be less.
That one's 3 by 4.
Yep.
They're basically the
And
same.
this one's 30 by 54 or something like that. But this one's under 12 square, that one is 12
I like the
square.
longer one better.
So that one fits in the bylaws.
They both do.
They both do.
They both do.
I
Stanford
think
School.
either one is
Well, they're gonna
fine.
be
I take the hand
perpendicular.
off and the public on.
Yes. However you guys want to sign, I'm assuming it so you can see it driving both ways,
Yep.
the correct distance from the road.
Get rid of the.
We'll make sure we put it where it's supposed to be.
Nice job.
Stanford School, Town Office,
That's it.
Library. Oh, because it'll be big.
Yeah, I think you can just say
We can put
library.
town office on top,
Oh,
so that
yeah,
was
but
remember.
Should they all be the same size?
Can you put on the sign the name of the select, oh no.
We won't get anyone to say, what about the school library?
Do you
No,
want,
just library.
Just wait,
do you
library.
want the typo the same size for all of them, or do you want the school?
Cover it up.
Can have.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a general idea, you guys can change it however you guys want.
What do you think? We're thinking about painting that, hot paint, Sheila. Hot paint?
What?
Hot paint? For a color?
Oh, for color?
Yeah, hot
Yeah,
paint.
maybe just take the public
Well, I
out,
know
public
White
library.
with black or white with green.
I would know one color, I know one person that would like green and white. I don't.
Isn't that what the green and
School-
yellow?
Green and yellow are like
The school
colors.
colors, right?
They're nice colors, they look good together.
I do the Bobcat color.
Yeah, they do
I
look
don't
good
care
together.
what the color is, believe it or
The
not.
old
What do
sign,
you want?
Kinda like.
Don't say that.
I just want the
Colors
bylaws.
too, I guess.
the old sign was gray with maroon.
Jen has a question, who's gonna pay for it?
So I've had several citizens in town that are willing to donate money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to put money forward for it, if not foot it.
Have you had a,
I will put some,
JB3 quoted me, like $700 to do a cedar sign, 2 sides.
Do we have money in the,
And then you would
is that
have
money?
We still have
to
some
install it
$100
and whatever else, but,
right,
I mean, I've already been told, someone's like, I'll give you $250, so I don't think money's gonna be
Yeah,
an
I
issue.
think you get money quick.
Okay, what's the
So
final
based on
decision?
these two, which one did you like the best?
What's the sign one?
I like this one if we get rid of the and just say library.
I like the longer one a little bit better.
So is this the
I-
one?
I don't really-
Sorry,
I don't really have.
And I don't like the line.
This one might be the longer one, I think this is.
That's one.
I like the shorter one.
Can we have the, font, the sa- not the font,
No, I
the
don't.
size letters the
No,
same?
you
Or we
don't.
can't?
Oh yeah, you could probably do all in the same size, right? Instead of, well, I figured the same for school you want bigger, cause then. I
If you
mean,
make
it's
them all the
school.
same size, they will all be small, Stamford and.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
probably
they
have to
will.
go
Quite a
to
bit smaller.
this, you probably have to all go to like this size or a size in between to get it all to fit in there.
I like it just the way it is.
Yeah, I think having it different sizes,
Jumps out.
makes it look like 3 different things,
Yeah.
whereas if all the words are exactly the same size, it's gonna blend together like a
I like
paragraph.
Stanford School, Town Office, Library.
Yep.
Library.
Yeah, just no, take the
It
and
gets
sign
shorter,
out
it
and
gets
the
shorter
public.
as it goes down.
Yep.
Yes.
First pyramid.
Yes, you're right, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like the
So
font.
this one?
Library.
I thought we
rid of
decided
the
on the
E.
other one.
I think you're losing, Sheila.
I think you're outvoted.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Well, Mike said he liked that one too.
Well, we'll see what it looks like.
Should we hang them in here and let people think about it for a couple days, or?
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
I just wonder if,
I
John,
don't want
so we took time to look at the guidelines for visual safety when you're driving in a motor vehicle at 35 miles an hour.
What's What's that?
guidelines for, operating motor vehicle for safety.
Okay,
There are guidelines
yeah.
for how big a font has to be visible safely from the road.
Dave, do you know that?
It is online, I don't have it.
Well, there is, but I don't, that's not a regulatory sign, it's just a.
Location sign, yeah. It's not a road sign.
Okay.
It's gonna be better than what we got now.
A little
So
bit.
the next step then is, we have to apply for building permit?
Hey, talk to Deb, say this is our submit
Yeah.
that. So
We're
we'll
gonna
submit,
show her.
well, the final result we'll submit. We'll tell her it's gonna go within the distance of where we have to put it. And file a permit,
Yeah.
she should be able to approve it right then and there if
Right.
it's within everything.
Yeah,
And done deal, it shouldn't even have to go to any boards.
before we finalize the whole.
What about the location now?
Well, that's what I'm saying, we'll have to go within the
Yeah.
location.
But you also have to consider the post it's gonna be on.
Are they both
The post can go behind, well, in the middle.
They're in the
So
square
that was a
footage.
question,
That's the
that was a
post.
question I had
So
before
what-
we started was, do the posts come into play with the size of the sign?
I
don't know.
I would say no, I mean,
That's the
you're talking the sign, you know?
Yeah,
I think we have an
so,
argument.
No,
Right,
so if you put, so you could put the post, if it's double-sided sign, maybe you put the post in between the sign.
Right, so then
Yes.
it's just sticking on the
Within.
bottom and that's fine.
Yeah.
If you put it on the building, you wouldn't consider the size of the building for a sign. So
I'm
it's
just
the
saying,
same
you do
thing.
have to consider.
Yeah, what's the speed limit, 30, isn't it? Coming through town, they shouldn't be going that fast
No,
anyway.
it's not, when it's not school though.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. I'm not sure about the post, I don't know.
That's
But
a
if
good
you're
question
on
for our planning board committee to,
That's the ZBA.
Yeah. I think it shouldn't be, but
From a highway standpoint, it only matters if it's in the right of way, as far as what you use for posts. 'Cause
Well-
It's in the right of way, which we can't have it in the right of way anyway.
correct.
If it were, it'd have to be breakaway or shielded.
Right.
So, if it's not in the right of way, I'm not sure it matters.
Well, I think we should do a final draft and present it to Deb, see if it goes through, and then go from there.
yeah.
If it don't, we have to go and ask for a variance because of if it's the poles or the location or whatever.
Yeah, the font size,
Also, this
whatever.
one, this one
Smaller,
that you
yeah.
were looking at is slightly below, slightly under.
Right, and
Yeah,
a
so
that
the-
would
4x4
give us-
post sticking out that
That
much
would
is
give
gonna add
us
much.
leeway.
It's only 4 inches.
Yeah, it's like 11.25 square, and the other one is 12
Yeah.
square.
So the 11.25 is better anyway for the,
If we had,
Post
if we
is-
had that post,
boom,
post. And
done.
they say if it's within, what, 5% or something?
Well, you can see how big of a sign you get for 12 square, I mean, it's not a bad
No,
size.
it's not bad.
No, sounds
So
bad.
even if you gotta make it a little smaller, to accommodate the posts, then I think
That's a lot bigger than what we were pointing at. when we
Yeah.
turned out.
Good job.
Yep,
Yeah,
very good,
I think
very
we
good.
should move on. Look.
Yes. Okay. Anything else under old business? No. Next meeting, hazardous mitigation plan, Dara will be here for 15 minutes to review the plan.
I think that she wants to do the 15th, not.
Oh, the 15th?
I think she can't do the 1st.
Okay. Whatever date it is then.
I think it's 8:15 she wants. And while we're on that,
8:15.
But the
August
date,
15th.
July. Oh,
August
17th.
15th.
You'll also have a liquor board meeting prior to that meeting, I'll try and remind you. So the next meeting coming up, you'll have to be early with the site visit. And the meeting after that, you'll have to be early again because you'll have a liquor board meeting for Belmont's. The state has staggered them now instead of just having them all in one shot. We used to do them all in like February, March. So,
who was in charge of the liquor board?
you
We
We all are.
yeah.
Well, I was just asking, because there was a meeting or two before, and it had different names on it, I was just curious if it was the same people or not.
That's why we call it liquor board, but it's really the beer and wine.
Right.
Yeah. And the state usually sends us notices or sends them to Lori if there's violations, so we would look at that and we can approve it.
or not approve it.
Any other new business?
Does anyone know what's going on with the burnt out house on Mill Road? Any information? Someone told me that there was lights going on and off there, like they were, I guess the concern was that kids might be going in and out of the place.
No, have
I
you
would hope
noticed
that
anything,
the power
Dave?
would be shut off if it was, had a fire in there.
Maybe there are no
So they
flashlights.
noticed
Oh,
or
maybe,
lanterns.
yeah, some flashlights.
I guess the concern was that someone might get injured, kid or whatever. Just thought I'd mention it.
Oh, I hope the homeowners got good insurance, in case someone gets hurt in there.
I believe there's an ongoing investigation, so.
If they take the house down, they won't be able to rebuild it. It's, you know.
We know,
You know.
Good.
Okay,
another site visit.
if anything else, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for personnel.
Okay. During that executive session, I would like to ask Dave, I don't know if you were going to,
Oh, no.
but I would like to ask Dave just to stay for 5 minutes of question. It's nothing to do with personnel. You know, matter about, maybe a purchase.
Okay.
Exactly, quick question about that.
Okay.
A purchase.
Thank you very much for coming. Good meeting. Thank you, honey.
Good.
See you later, everybody.
He's over there.